Hey guys, it's Krystal Lucier here, also known as your Home Sweet Home 519 Realtor, Krystal Lee Moore. And this is Realtor Life, a fun and entertaining way to learn about life in the trenches as a real estate agent in Ontario. So, this is being recorded in December 2023, and I wanted to take a second to talk about how we treat people. So there's a beautiful quote, and I believe it is by Maya Angelou, and it is that people will never remember what you did for them. They might not even remember what you said, but they will remember how you made them feel. And how you make people feel as a realtor is very, very important. And I don't know about you guys, but when you're in the service industry and you're good at it, it's almost a curse, because then you end up in a situation where when you receive poor customer service, it is hard to take, guys, hard to take. And this actually stems back to when I used to work full-time. That's not true. I used to work part-time, but a lot, at Shoppers Drug Mart when I was in high school and university. And it was all about customer service. And I learned from Shoppers Drug Mart that I represented the brand, but also my job was to make people feel good. And I remember being very proud because I was pretty good at it. I used to get customers that would send in notes about how wonderful my service was and how they loved the experience. And fun fact, that's a great thing to do. So I actually did that. I do that whenever I can. But there's a lovely girl at our Shoppers Drug Mart, and I always love how wonderful she is to all the customers, including me. So I sent in a note for her because I think it's important to recognize good behavior and good service. And so often we recognize bad behavior and bad service with reviews. So I believe, I don't know what the stat is, but if someone has a bad experience, everyone knows about it. And if they have a good experience, they might tell a couple people. But I would love to change that stat. But all that to say, when we have an experience as a customer service person, it can be really hard to see past poor service. Especially when you are on a vacation or it's your turn to be treated properly. And so I recently had an experience at a hotel, and this is a hotel chain that I frequent and I love, and it wasn't the hotel staff. The hotel staff's always amazing. It was an associated restaurant. And I think sometimes when there's a monopoly with a restaurant or a coffee shop, there's a disconnect. And even though staff maybe isn't personally invested in the success of the business, I remember when we were taught at Shoppers Drug Mart, and I carried it through into real estate with Royal LePage, we are very invested in the success. Just because I personally don't own Royal LePage doesn't mean that I don't want Royal LePage to look good by my actions. And the same thing goes with a restaurant or a coffee shop or even the hotel staff. But what we run into is a situation where we have a choice every single day, if we're behind the counter, if we're in front of the counter, how to treat people. And so I had an experience where I just wasn't treated well, and there's no rhyme or reason for it. And it wasn't the first time at this restaurant. But the issue is that the restaurant is in the hotel. And so whether you like it or not, you get the impression of the hotel. And I think it's important if we look at the bigger picture, who are we aligning ourselves with? So it is all well and good that we treat people well and that we go out of our way in customer service and all of this. But if we are aligning ourselves with other businesses that are treating people badly, or if we are referring without really building a relationship, is that really serving our clients, and is it serving our businesses? As a great example, so I am a big referral agent. I love referring to agents. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. Krystal Lee Moore, London, Ontario. But I also love, I love sending and giving referrals to my fellow agents, but also to my business network. So if my clients need something, I want to know that I not only have a name for them, but I have a name of a person that will treat them well, because they are, once I've given that name, they're an extension of me. And I want my clients to know that if I give them a name, they'll be treated properly and they'll be treated the way I would treat them. And I think it's an art that I won't say it's lost, but I do think there's been a bit of a bumpy road since COVID, and maybe even before. When we walk into a store, I'm so happy when people act the way I used to act. So if I ask for something and they say, "Oh, I think it's in this aisle, let's go check." That was what I did. And during the last few years, I would ask for something and kind of looking up from the phone or the task, say, well, if we have it, it might be in aisle 7 or 8. Okay. Or the worst is we don't have it, and then I go looking and I find it. So again, we have a choice. Do we want to have some pride of ownership in our jobs? And I also understand, like, there are days that I don't want to be out and about. There's days when I'm just stressed and overwhelmed, but every interaction with people still counts. And I think that is, if I had to really look, the difference between a professional and someone who is just doing the job is, will you take it that one level further and make it personal, but make it an experience that your clients will remember? Because after all, we're called salespeople, but are we really selling? People can't be sold to. They're not going to buy something they don't want, especially when we're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars for a house or a condo or a business or whatever it is. So we need to be customer service experts and educated. So one of the things that's important is, we want to know, if we can't help you, is there another solution? And just to break it down, just so that we're not talking in abstract. So my issue at the restaurant. So I had a very, very late arrival. For some reason, I thought I could get breakfast at this restaurant until 11:30. I was mistaken. And I'd been told in the past that once breakfast changes over, they change the grill, kind of like at McDonald's. So not a problem. So I said, okay, well, is there like cereal or something dry? It's been a long night. I would just love some breakfast. And the answer was just like, absolutely not. And turned around and walked away. And it's not really about not having the answer I wanted. Because as it turns out, the hotel, the little snack bar confection thing, has cereal. So if we think about it, a really easy answer would have been, so sorry, we can't help you. However, the hotel has cereal. So I know that that's not what you wanted, but there is cereal available, so you still get breakfast. And then now you know for next time we're not able to sell you breakfast, whatever it is. But what we have is someone who frequents an establishment, or who frequents a realtor, like however you want to look at the picture, and then an experience that makes the whole experience seem a little bit less important or less satisfying. And so what we want to make sure about in business and in service is that we aren't being the person that walked away. We're being the person that said, hey, let's go find it together, or hey, here's a solution for you. Because ultimately, we're solution providers. If you live in a house that's too small, we will help you upsize. If you live in a house that's too big, we'll help you downsize. If you are sick of renting, we'll help you buy. Or if you just really need to sell and you want to rent again, we'll help you sell. But the point is, it's the solution. If there's too much clutter and you can't get through it, we'll create a list and a plan with you. If there's kind of a honey-do list that has not ever been taken care of and needs to be done, we'll go through it with you. So it's what can we do as professionals to go over and above the expectation and just to leave people with that feeling that they were taken care of. Even if it's small, even if it's a little phone call to say, hey, and we've done this. Hey, I pulled some people, and as it turns out, the driveway is an issue. So for one of my listings, we got the driveway sealed and had the front photos taken again. Game changer. It wasn't that expensive. It didn't take a lot of time, but the experience that my client was left with was, wow, I was taken care of. And wouldn't it be great if we all just kept that in mind every time we chatted with someone? I remember there was a house for sale in our neighborhood and the clients were stuck. They didn't know what to do with this couch. So they left it in the park. And the agent that they were working with also left it in the park. And so the whole neighborhood is trying to figure out how to get rid of this couch. And I was pretty surprised that the couch stayed there for so many days. And finally, I had reached out to a moving company on a few occasions, and they stepped up, and it was amazing. They saw the post, they saw the questions, and they stepped up and said, "No problem, we've got this," and they posted about it. And so, no one remembers the details about the whole situation, but what everyone remembers is they felt supported by this moving company, and it was Mighty Movers Elite, which is pretty cool. But when we think back, our memories are not going to handle every detail, and those feelings are going to be paramount. So, did someone make you feel special? Did they make you feel not special? Did they make you feel taken care of? Did they make you feel abandoned? Did they make you feel like you belong, or did they make you feel like you weren't supposed to be there? Whatever the feeling is, as professionals, we should be showing people that they are important, they matter, they are taken care of, and we've got them. And I think ultimately that is going to be the difference in the market that we're going into. Is we're going to see a shift, I think, in the next few years, and the people who are really, really focused on the service side of customers and really making it happen, and making sure their skills are up to date and everything, those are the ones who are going to kind of rise to the top. So all that to say, if anyone ever has questions, if you have a story you want to share, if you have a lesson you want to share, anything, I love getting them. I love hearing from my colleagues. And I hope everyone has a fantastic day. This is Krystal Lee Moore Lucier, your Home Sweet Home 519 Realtor, Krystal Lee Moore.